Shalom, 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 Israel, Brother Amos with the Watchman for Israel. First and foremost, as we always do, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem being in the name, right? And Yahushua is who the world literally calls Jesus Christ, right? To the men on the highways and byways, making the body a living sacrifice, doing all they can for the hopeful elect, and for the nation of Israel. I want to give y'all a strong shalom. To the sisters holding down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being the teacher, good things to the younger women and unto the children. I want to give y'all a strong shalom. And to the men and women forsaking this world, coming back to serve our God, Yahweh Shem Yahshai, I want to compel y'all to be at the Church of Berea, to search the scriptures daily and diligently to see if the words that be spoken to you are true or not. Right, it's a lot of false prophets, a lot of soothsayers, a lot of men sent forth to deter the truth. And it's our job as the watchmen for Israel to combat that wickedness with righteousness, right? To be that just balance in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? So this is a quick cut, nothing too deep, right? Nothing to overthrow brothers or have brothers, mind spinning. It's to maintain good works and have confidence and be ever so sure when you're preaching the gospel, right? Making sure your hands are clean, right? Making sure you're moving in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? That's the most important thing, to be moving in the spirit of the Most High when you're being entrusted with this gospel, right? This is the book of Acts, chapter 28, and I'm going to start at verse number 29, right? And it says, when he had said these words, the Jews departed and had great reasoning among themselves. And Paul dwelt 2 whole years in his own hired house and received all that came in unto him, preaching the kingdom of Yahweh and teaching those things which concern the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach with all confidence. No man forbade him. So as we preach and push his gospel and speak these beautiful words through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? We have to preach the Lord with all confidence, right? And what does it mean to preach the Lord in all confidence? Being sure of what you're speaking, right? Not having your mind, your conscience seared with a hot iron, that you're lukewarm, that you don't truly believe all these things that are spoken, right? You're confused, right? You don't know who is who. You can't break down small things that you ought to learn when you first come into this truth, right? And no, there's nothing wrong with, going over and reading again or asking a brother for help if you don't understand. But you got to have ever sure confidence that the Most High has given you this gospel knowledge and understanding for a reason, right? For that reason, you have the understanding of the gospel, right? Many are tossed to and fro. Many are confused, right? But it's our job to make sure that we're moving in that spirit. Right, I want to get Proverbs. Right, Proverbs 22. Proverbs 22. And I'm going to start at verse number 17. It says, "Buy down thou ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply thine heart into my knowledge. For it is a pleasant thing if thou keep them within thee. There shall withal be fitted in thy lips, that thy trust may be in the Lord. I have made known to thee this day, even today." Right? So if you truly trust in the Lord, you're moving in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, your lips are going to speak those such beautiful things that the Most High has commanded us to speak. Right? We're not going to be talking of our own belly. We're not going to be saying there's certain precepts that aren't for, there's no precept for everything. Right? A lot of people, they get confused with the ways of this world and the ideology of the wise of this world, instead of having their mind set and fixated on Yahweh Shemi Shai. Right? The precepts are our medicine. Right? The precepts are the things that make us to gain understanding. The precepts are the things that allow us to continue to push forth in these last days. Right? The Most High entrusted us with His knowledge to spread the word unto the Jews and to the Gentiles. Right? We're not talking about the Gentiles of the other nations. Right? We're talking about the Gentiles of our people who are walking in Greek fraternities. Right? The Gentiles of our people who are walking in Islam. The Gentiles of our people who are walking in Catholicism. Right? The Gentiles of our people who are walking in such manner that they ought not to. Right? And that's the problem. A lot of our people, they walk in a manner that they have not need to. And the manner that they walk in is not prosperous for them at all. Right? So let's go to 1 Thessalonians. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 3. Right? We brought this out at camp yesterday. Right? And this is the key thing that we all must think of when it comes to dealing and applying and handling the words of the Most High. Right? The words of the Most High aren't just words where you just come up and say them whenever you want to and then you forget them throughout the week. You got to live by these words. Right? You got to hold and attest to them all the days of your life. Right? So this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. For our exhortation was not of deceit, nor of uncleanliness, nor in guile, but as we were allowed of Yahweh to be put in trust with the gospel, even so we speak, not as pleasing men, but Yahweh which trieth our hearts. So when we speak, we don't speak, thus say, how you doing? I'm all right. Thus saying the Most High, thus saying man. We speak thus saying Yahweh Shemi Shai. Right? That's the way that we ought to speak. Right? Because anything else is foolishness and a lie. Right? Anything else is confusion. Yeah. Sorry. For neither at any time use we flattering words, as ye know, nor a cloak of covetousness, Yahweh is our witness. So when you're using these words of the Most High, you want to make sure that you're using words that are not hard to understand. Right? Words that are flattering in the sight of man, but pleasing in the sight of Yahweh Shemi Shai. Right? It doesn't have to be deep, dark words that nobody can break down. It doesn't have to be words that are confusing. Right? It doesn't have to be words that you have to use a thesaurus in the dictionary to break it down. You got to make yourself like unto all men so that the words of Yahweh Shemi Shai are easy to receive. Right? And that's the point. Right? A lot of preachers and pastors, even men of this truth, they use deep, dark words to try to seem like they're bigger than what they ought to be. Right? Because at the end of the day, we're all ashes and dust. And if the Most High hasn't treated us to be over His word and to preach the gospel, how pleasant are the feet of those that preach it. And that's the thing that we tend to forget. Right? Because knowledge puffeth up. Knowledge make you get big, it make you get bold, make you feel like you got some authority, make you feel like you're on top of the world. Like, can't nobody tell you nothing. Right? Can't nobody say nothing to you. Right? But at the end of the day, the Most High has allowed us to understand this gospel, to be able to preach it to the four corners of the earth. Right? And it says, nor of men sought we glory, neither of you, nor yet of others, when we might have been burdensome as the apostles of Yahweh Shai. But we are gentle among you, even as a nurse cherishes her children. So when you handle these words of the Most High, you have to be gentle, right? Nourish it, right? Helping build people up. Because the longer that you are building people up, the stronger the army of the Most High can be. Right? The stronger the army of the Most High, the more soldiers we have. Right? More laborers, right? More understanding, more preachers of the gospel. So it's evident and it's clear how we ought to move. If the Most High has entrusted us to be in His Word, be wise, be subtle, be harmless as a dove, and preach the gospel with sincerity. With that, I say shalom.